Shalom, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai. To give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops, great millstone, that taught us his word. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect across the planet Earth. All I can say is it's near, and when the time is near, the time of Jacob's trouble is near, the time of the destruction is near. Ultimately, the time of the elect's salvation is near. I guess today the Supreme Court, allowed the immigration agents to resume roving patrols in LA. Apparently, they lifted some restrictions regarding, racial profiling when it came to these ICE raids. The local courts put a ban on it. From the ICE raids, and I guess the Supreme Court overturned it today. So they're doing a little press conference out there, and it's gearing up, man. So now they can just run up on anyone they seem fit. This article's out of calmatters.org. It's dated today. Yeah, that Supreme Court justice decision came down today, early this morning. It says a Supreme Court allows immigration agents to resume roving patrols in LA, siding with Trump. And you get used to these roving patrols, man. You're gonna have roving militia groups out here when the race riots pop off and all these different uproars, going door to door, martial law, roving martial law troops going door to door, sparing none. But it says the U.S. Supreme Court lifted limits on immigration sweeps in Southern California, overturning the lower court ruling that prohibited agents from stopping people based on their appearance. Yeah, they see that you're, Latino, you look like you're a day laborer or whatever, they're just gonna round you up, man. The U.S. Supreme Court today granted Trump's administration's emergency request to lift a temporary restraining order barring federal immigration officials from conducting roving patrols and profiling people based on their appearance in Los Angeles and Southern California. The Supreme Court, by a 6-3 majority, agreed with Trump that federal immigration officers can briefly detain and interrogate individuals about whether they are lawfully in the U.S. and that they can rely on totality of circumstances, standard for reasonable suspicion. And that means everything the officer knew and observed at the time of the stop. Justices do not have to publish an opinion when they act from the emergency docket. Justice Brett Kavanaugh nonetheless wrote a concurring opinion explaining his reasoning in lifting restrictions on Los Angeles immigration sweeps. To be clear, he continued, ethnicity alone cannot furnish reasonable suspicion under this court's case law regarding immigration stops. However, it can be a relevant factor when considered with other salient factors. So in one breath he says, they cannot furnish reasonable doubt on ethnicity, but then another breath, it can be a relevant factor. So you got all these loopholes in the justice system, but it's all about Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Right now, these Latinos are catching it. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna trickle down to the Southern Kingdom, man. It's ICE raid. Look at these guys, man. Yeah, it's gonna be these dudes that are going door to door, sparing none. Another one out of Bloomberg News or BloombergLaw.com. This was dated September 4th, 2025. It says Alligator Alcatraz to remain open as DH, Department of Homeland Security, appeals the shutdown. So, I mean, so they're all in league, you know. These little detention centers, you know. The temporary migrant facility in the Florida Everglades, known as Alligator Alcatraz, will remain open for the time being after federal appeals court paused a judge's order to wind down operations. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit granted the Department of Homeland Security's motion to stay in the preliminary injunction while the appeal plays out, meaning the government won't have to dismantle the facility. Writing for the panel, Judge Barbara Lagoa rebuked the lower court's finding that the migrant detention center qualified as a major federal action that required an environmental review under the national environment. But whatever, man. It's like these lower courts, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they try to appeal it. And, you know, they're all in league, man. Trump's administration, Supreme Court justices. It's like you make a ruling to close the thing down, and then the higher courts are just going to step in and open it back up again because this is what they want. This is part of that New World Order, man. This is ultimately the script and the scriptures, man. You know, some get thrown into these prisons, man. You know, you got guillotines in these prisons, man. You know, they have to have these detention centers, these concentration camps, you know. For when you reject the chip, you know, the mark of the beast, you know. So they have to put them somewhere, man. Put the men of the Lord somewhere. Put Israelites somewhere, man. So yeah, these Alligator Alcatraz and all these detention centers, they're going to remain open and in business, you know, because that's the Lord's plan, you know. This is 2 Ezra 9:1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it's the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. The Lord is visiting the place, man. Look at this, man. Measure the time diligently, man. The uproars of the people. It's going to mention that. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, yeah, man, uproar. You got a big earthquake out there in Afghanistan. I think it killed over 2,000 people. Earthquakes all over the place, man, and uproars of the people, all at the same time, man. So this measuring the time diligently in itself, man. We're aware of these prophecies, and we're watching out for them, man, because they're playing out, man. And we're at that time. That time is near. You know, the Lord is visiting His people, man. You know, these ICE agents, He's visiting them through, you know, these earthquakes, that destruction. 2,000 dead here, 100 dead here. A few years ago, there was a big earthquake over there in Turkey. I think it was like 30 or 40,000 people died in that thing, man. So the Lord visited them, man. And the Lord's going to continue to visit. Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. You know. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Yeah, the end is manifest, man. We're seeing it. If you can't see it, then it just wasn't for you, man. You have to die in the missiles, man, or in that concentration camp. But that day is near, man. This is Romans 13:11. For now, and that now, so like, and that knowing the time, that now is high time to wake out of sleep. For now our salvation is nearer than we believe. Yeah, it's time for you Negroes, Latinos, especially Latinos right now. Time for y'all to wake up, man. Get out of that hatred that you have for the Southern Kingdom. Because you have to link up with the Southern Kingdom, man. You know what I mean? That time, so now it's high time to wake out of sleep, man. You gotta come back to your power. Come back to your nationality. Come back to who you are, man. just that salvation is right around the corner, man. It's nearer than we believe, man. The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness and put on the whole armor of light, yeah, which is this truth, man. Because we're gonna need the help. You're not gonna be able to help yourself in that day. Your money's not gonna be able to help you in that day, man. To the spirit, Yahweh Shai, that's the only thing that's gonna help you, man. Being the Lord, being on your side, wisdom and knowledge, that's gonna be your stability. Not the government, not the Department of Homeland Security, man. All right, this is Zephaniah 1:14. That great day of the Lord, Yahweh Shai, is near. It is near. It hastens greatly. even the voice of the day of the Lord. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly. Yeah, the mighty man is going to be, shooken up in these last days, man. When all hell is breaking loose, when that missiles drop, the day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble, a day of stress, a day of wasteness, a day of desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness. Yeah, that's a bad day right there, man. It's a bad day. It's right around the corner, man. So yeah, it was just some breaking news. Supreme Court, overturned the restrictions imposed by the lower courts here in California. So they're allowing these ICE troops, these race soldiers, these ICE agents, just to run up on you based on your ethnicity. You look like Latino. They're just gonna round you up, and ship you out. No matter if you're a citizen, man. And soon the Southern Kingdom's gonna feel it. Yeah, with that, shalom.